The suitcase killer is on the loose. He killed Jenny Gamez and Laura Simonson, stuffed their bodies in suitcases, and left them on the side of the road.
They were in two different states of decomposure. Jenny was mummified. Her body was dark in color.
Investigators need to find this killer fast. Laura's cyber trail leads them to a man she met on a Bondage website, a guy who calls himself Mr. Handcuffs.
There's a heartbreaking moment in their emails together where she says to him, "Boy, if you wanted to kill me, no one would ever find me."
Cops traced this Mr. Handcuffs to an apartment on a busy street in the Milwaukee suburb of West Allis.
We began immediate surveillance on him. We put tracking devices on his vehicle.
And living in apartment number 1, Steven Zelich.
Steve? Hi.
Cops were waiting for Zelich after he got home from work. He invited them inside and they recorded audio of their first encounter.
Let me set off why we're here, okay? Regarding Laura, she's missing.
How did you come to know her or meet her? Well, just online. First place I think we met was website. What website?
A portal to the dark world of bondage, discipline, and sadomasochism, known as BDSM.
He tells me that he's been doing this for a very long time. He became interested in BDSM at age 19, and he's been continuing to be involved in it his entire life. When they're doing this BDSM sessions, they're tying people up, they're using rope, they're using tape, they're using handcuffs, they're blindfolding them, they're putting gag balls in their mouths, doing inflict pain on the other person because that's the excitement that the slave or the person who's the dominant enjoys to do.
Zelich's picture on that website looks like he could be just a regular Joe down the street. But his profile reveals the twisted mind of a sexual deviant. There is nothing better than a slave, tied tight, gagged, blindfolded, hooded, chained, caged.
Let me describe it as, for me, fantasy-based. It's just conversation. I had no intention of actually meeting.
Zelich denies meeting Laura in person. He seems amiable and cooperative, maybe too cooperative for his own good.
So I like to have a sample of your DNA, just a swab, not a big deal.
No, not at all.
After giving cops his DNA, Zelich lets them search his computer.
He had installed a software program that cleaned or removed data from it automatically. And there was tens of thousands of times that software had ran and supposedly cleaned his computer.
Zelich didn't know that Laura's computer had his emails. And he didn't know cops had surveillance video at the hotel Laura had stayed in. But that's not enough to prove he's the suitcase killer, until the DNA results came in.
Laura had a rope that was wrapped around her neck. So when I took that stuff to the crime lab, one of the analysts took different samples off of it. She called me and she said, "I have a DNA profile hit. It's Steve Zelich's DNA that was inside that knot."
So now, cops get a warrant to search Zelich's cramped and cluttered apartment. They find a lot of bleach and cleaning supplies. Odd, because his filthy hovel is caked with black mold. And in a closet, cops find evidence of Zelich's perverted lifestyle. Another suitcase containing tools of torture. A paddle, restraints, ropes, and duct tape. And then they find a badge. Badge number 138, issued by the West Allis Police Department.
Well, he was a police officer for many years. He worked for West Allis. His dad was a sergeant for the City of Milwaukee Police Department. He worked there for 40 years.
Jamie Bates tells our Milwaukee affiliate WITI via Skype she was once Zelich's roommate. She claims one day he revealed a sickening secret.
He had said that he kept a girl for 7 years in his apartment in this crate, this cage. And he would leave her in there during the day when he went to work as a police officer. And he would come home on lunch and check in on her.
Jamie says she quickly moved out, and not long after, Zelich's coveted shield would become tarnished. While on duty, Zelich was accused of harassing prostitutes and exotic dancers at local strip joints.
Most guys will hit on somebody, and if they don't get a decent response, they back off. You know, there's nothing there for me, you know. Apparently he didn't feel that way.
In an audio recording with the West Allis police chief, Zelich is confronted about the claims of abusing his position to intimidate the women.
As chief and as an administrator for many years, I remember calling a business owner, calling the station to complain a squad was in the area too often. Do you know why she would call?
No, that seems unusual to me also. Most businesses love this, yeah. Never was I pushy or out of line. I'm always professional and gentlemanly.
Zelich quit the force and went to work as a security guard.
When we met with him, he had a security uniform on, very similar to a law enforcement uniform. He told me that in his heart, he still felt like he was part of the law enforcement community.
Zelich was assigned to the corporate headquarters of a big company in Milwaukee.
There was a lot of high-end cars, a lot of very fancy, expensive vehicles there in that same parking lot where he was parking.
His boss came to him and said, your trunk, it had gotten to the summer months, your trunk smells as if there's a dead body, and you need to take care of that by tomorrow because people are complaining.
Mr. Handcuffs takes care of it in a way that will soon find himself on the receiving end of another pair of handcuffs. Next, the never-before-seen interrogation.
I had the rope around her neck and pulled it.
What Zelich reveals will shock even the toughest cop.
When did you take her out of the fridge?
Can you explain that to me? Because I'm not sure what that means.
It is the control of breath, whether it be pinching the nose or having the ball gag in the mouth and pinching the nose, and choking is popular,